This morning, we're speaking with three young Surrey residents about what they have been experiencing. Suhana Gill is the Surrey community leader. She joins us this morning. Good morning to you, Suhana.
Morning, Stephen.
Jastaj Parmar is a university student living in Surrey. Good morning to you, Jastaj.
Good morning, Stephen.
And Dilbar Bahri is a university student living in Surrey as well. Good morning to you, Dilbar.
Good morning, Stephen.
Great to have all three of you with us. Suhana, I'll go to you first. What are some of the main issues that you and other young people in Surrey are dealing with right now? What are you facing today?
So, as we know, the city of Surrey is the fastest growing city in all of Canada currently. And we're seeing with that growth, a lot of issues arise too. And as a young person, one of the main issues that we're currently seeing is with affordability in the city of Surrey. How do we see an affordable future here in the city of Surrey when it comes to housing, when it comes to employment? Because it doesn't seem easy whatsoever currently. And I've talked to many young people, and they don't see a future here in the city of Surrey, which is very unfortunate because we're having immense growth. We have immense talent here, and it's kind of disheartening to see that disconnect between the young people and seeing a future in the city of Surrey. So affordability would definitely be one of them, but also safety. We don't feel safe in the city of Surrey. I've talked to many young people, and they've all said that they don't even feel safe going down the street in the middle of the night because they don't know what's going to happen, let alone go to school sometimes in the evening. Because I have an evening class at the KP University,
Hmm.
and when I drive to school, I talk to classmates, and sometimes they say that they don't feel safe driving home sometimes. And when we see this, especially with the extortion issue we're currently seeing, it's heartbreaking to see that we don't feel safe within our own home. We don't feel safe within our own city. And so those would be the two major issues that I see the young people facing the most.
And Dilbar, what about for you? I'm thinking of what's going on in Surrey regarding extortion related crimes. Yeah, how safe are young people in Surrey feeling right now?
I think extortion really hits home for a lot of us. As someone working in the trades, I've seen how businesses are targeted, and it creates an overwhelming sense of fear in the community. It's not just about violence, it's the constant feeling about being unsafe, even if you're not directly affected. This fear just makes it hard for us to go out, work, or just enjoy our city in general. When businesses are forced to shut down or operate under threat, it limits the spaces where youth can connect, work, or even feel at home. What's worse is that despite Surrey being one of the fastest growing cities, many of us can't see a future here. It feels like we're stuck in survival mode with no clear path forward, and it only deepens the disconnect we feel from our community and its future here.
Do you think, Dilbar, that that's different from young people in any other community, that they feel disconnected, that they maybe don't see a future where they are?
Yeah, I think it is different.
Why is it different in Surrey, do you think?
I think the problem here is a lot more exacerbated than other cities. For example, affordability, it's really hard to make a living wage here. A lot of my peers complain that majority of their monthly income is going towards rent, and they don't have much breathing space to take take part in other community gathering activities or extracurriculars and really just enjoy what the city has to offer.
And when you talk about, young people in the trades and a sense of fear, what do you mean exactly?
Well, when I go to work, I see in the news a lot of trades businesses, especially in construction, being targeted through extortion. So when I go to work, I don't feel safe going to different job sites around Surrey. I feel like I have to constantly look over my shoulder. Even my boss has said that he's afraid to post on social media because he doesn't want the company name out there too much.
For fear of the extortion problem, for fear of being
Yeah,
extorted. Huh.
yeah.
Now, Justash, we're seeing lots of housing developments go up in Surrey. What does renting in Surrey look like right now for somebody who's in their 20s?
I feel like renting is a really tough space. Affordability obviously is a really big issue in the Lower Mainland, especially in Surrey. Rent, I feel like goes up and down, but it's definitely on the higher end, and it's a major part of the monthly spending for students, especially with a lot of like the expenses students already have to face, whether it be transit, cooking, obviously the amenities you need to live, and then on top of that, rent is like the major part. And of course, I feel like rent going down could also help, but affordability is, yeah, a very big issue in the Lower Mainland, especially with students.
And do you think, Jastaj, that that leads to people maybe, not getting out on their own as quickly as they might want to, maybe staying at home a little bit longer until they can, save a little bit of money?
Of course, yeah. I feel like it really challenges the independence of students, right? They'll have to stay at home, whether it be during school, even after, right? Even affording a home right now in Surrey is very difficult. So, like a lot of students currently, even after they get their job in their fields, if they get that, which is also very hard right now, they're struggling to even think of how they're going to afford these homes, even after they're done school.
Hmm. Suhana, what is one measurable change that you would like to see in the city of Surrey?
I believe one measurable change within the city of Surrey would be to match that growth in population with infrastructure and employment. Because, for example, with the Surrey School District, when we see the school district, we're known as the portable city. And when we see that, it's not something to be very proud about because that just shows we have much more growth in population, but a lack of growth within infrastructure. And the reason why I use the school district is because it's a prime example of the where the youth are fostered in the city of Surrey. I've talked to many teachers, many parents, and many students, and they feel as if they don't have any space to grow or learn here in the city of Surrey. We shouldn't have 306 portables here in the city of Surrey. We shouldn't have teachers burnt out here in the city of Surrey because the youth are our future, but it is so vital that as a youth, we have a future, a strong future, which is fostered because it starts from the elementary schools into the high schools into post secondary. And so, one vital thing that we need to see change here in the city of Surrey is to make sure that we focus within the Surrey School District. We make sure we're matching infrastructure. And that also ties into transportation because when we see the roads in the city of Surrey, there's immense traffic. People are scared to drive because they feel anxious. Some people get panic attacks when driving around because
Hmm.
traffic is so it gives them so much anxiety. And then with the buses aren't really going to solve that problem. We need proper transit. We need SkyTrain, for example, to make it more convenient to get to school, to get to work. And so there's many things that tie into all of this, and I feel like it also affects the youth's mental health. And when we see this, it takes away from their growth in the city of Surrey. Even with like the current issues with transportation, the current mayor promised to bring in buses, but buses won't really solve the issue. When we saw in the last term of the previous mayor, we saw SkyTrain come in, and we got a very good response from the youth when it came to that because I remember first hearing about it on the news, and so many young people were happy because it was going to make it so much more convenient and stress free to get to work, to get to school. So, infrastructure is the main issue that we're seeing in the city of Surrey, which we need to see solved.
All right, thanks for that, Suhana. Dilbar, you're working in a skilled job in the trades. How common is it though for young people, who don't have any trades training or formal training? How tough is it for people to find work? Sorry, Dilbar, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, Stephen. I had a connection issue.
Oh, that's no problem. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that how common is it
Uh,
for young people to try to find work if they don't have training?
yeah, working in the trades, I can tell you that it's tough for young people without formal training to find work. Even many entry level positions require experience or specialized skills, which puts those just starting out in a tough spot. Even if you're willing to learn the job, employers will definitely prefer candidates with some sort of training or background. And for those without trade certification or experience, it can feel like uh, a catch. You need the job to gain it. It's like it's hard to get the job without the experience, and this makes it harder for youth to get their foot in the door, leading to lots of underemployment and financial instability.
Hmm. And Jastaj, where do you feel the population growth the most in Surrey right now? We just heard from Suhana talking about, the difficulty in getting around, the difficulty with transit and even driving. What are the challenges that you see there?
I definitely agree with Sahana on that. Transit is a major issue in the lower mainland. Just getting around, obviously, it's very difficult. Being frequent user of the bus myself, I can see it's always packed, and sometimes our safety even feels threatened. Right, like some of these stops don't feel as safe, especially later at night. And I feel like that's something that the city definitely can work on and definitely improve to help students in the future.
And when you say the stops don't feel safe, what do you mean exactly?
Sometimes at night, maybe you'll see people that are a little bit more on the sketchier end or stuff like that, and it just feels more unsafe. And it's so packed in, so many people, so close. it's
Mm.
just harder to breathe and just your own personal space, right?
Right. And Jastaj Dilbar spoke a moment ago about, the extortion crisis that's been taking place and the threats that are being issued and, some of the criminal action that's taking place. How do you feel about that right now?
I can see how it's very very tough times in Surrey right now. I feel a lot of business owners are afraid to go on social media to make themselves known. It's just a tough time to be out there right now. No one wants to be known, and no one wants to be targeted, obviously, for their loved ones and their families. So I feel like safety is definitely at question for a lot of Surrey residents right now.
And Suhana, for people that you're around, is it top of mind?
The extortion issue, definitely. I mean, this is a prime example of like university students, even them being scared to go to class. Nobody wants to take afternoon classes or evening classes because they don't want to get back home late because they don't feel safe. Extortion is definitely one of the major issues we're currently seeing as young people because once we're done school, we get our jobs, they don't want to grow families in the city of Surrey because they don't feel safe
Hmm.
and they feel like there's a disconnect and a lack of understanding and communication when it comes to transparency of the extortion issue. They want to see more transparency when it comes to local government and policing. They want to make sure that they understand what's going on. They feel safe in their own homes because extortion is top of mind for a lot of young people because it's not only their future on the line, but it's also their current being, their current
Hmm.
livelihoods. And like Delbar had mentioned, he's scared to go to work. Like Jazz had said, he's scared to be at bus stops. And so when you see all of these examples, when you hear from other young people, it's very disheartening because, like I had mentioned earlier, the city of Surrey has such immense
Yeah.
talent. And it's so important that we foster that talent to make sure we have a better and more stronger city. And because the city of Surrey it definitely has everything when it comes to the trades, when it comes to education and talent. But how do we make sure that we feel safe to stay here and grow that city and match that growth with infrastructure, match the population with growth? And so extortion is definitely top of mind. And I believe that
Hmm.
we need more transparency when it comes to local government, especially the current council. There has to be more transparency of what's going on. We have to make sure we invest more within the Surrey Police. We have stronger task force when it comes to addressing this issue because we don't want to feel unsafe in our own city where we grew up, where we've lived our whole lives. We want to see a strong future where we're
Hmm.
proud to be Surrey residents, where we're proud to grow.
Suhana, thank you so much for the time. And Jastaj and Dilbar, really appreciate your time this morning as well. It's a great conversation, and thank you all for taking part.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much for having me on here,
Yeah,
Stephen.
thank
All
you.
right, you take care. Bye bye now. That's Suhana Gill, who is a Surrey community leader, Jastaj Parmar as well, and Dilbar Bahri. All of them talking about some of the issues that young people are facing in Surrey right now.